thought I was marrying the love of my life. Turns out, I was just a placeholder, a name on paper, a pawn in a scheme that would have made a soap opera blush. Lily, my fiancée, the woman I built a life with, was cheating on me with her ex, a man she swore was ancient history. But it didn't stop there. She faked our marriage papers, lied about everything, and when I found out the truth, I didn't scream, I didn't beg, I did something better. I waited, quietly, patiently, and in court I told the truth, the whole truth, the kind of truth that doesn't just break a lie, it shatters a perfect little world built on deceit. Stick around, because by the end of this story, you'll know exactly how betrayal feels and how justice tastes when it's served cold. This one's for anyone who's ever been lied to and lived to tell the tale. I met Lily 4 years ago behind the bar I managed, the kind of place with squeaky leather stools, faded team flags, and regulars who drink like they're still in college. I was 31 then. Still am, give or take a hard year. Lily was 29, all sleek lines and sharp ambition, a real estate agent, the kind who closed million-dollar deals before lunch and posted about it with hashtags like hustle and blessed. She walked into my bar with 5 of her old high school friends, lawyers, a dermatologist, someone in hedge funds, one in tech marketing, you get the idea. They dropped $600 that night on apps and top-shelf cocktails, barely glanced at the TV, and laughed like they were trying to outshine each other. She came back. The next week. Then again, whenever I was working. Said I made her laugh. Said I was real, whatever that meant. Me? I started as a bartender fresh out of college, a business degree gathering dust in a drawer somewhere. But I worked my way up. Now I run one of the busiest sports bars in the area. My staff likes me, my regulars trust me, and for the most part, I sleep pretty well at night. Her friends didn't think much of that. I remember the way they'd smile too politely, ask if I'd ever thought about doing something else, as if a man can't take pride in serving beer and holding a room together during March Madness. But I was in love. And when you're in love, you don't always hear the quiet warnings. You just keep pouring drinks and hoping they see what's in your heart, not just what's on your name tag. It didn't start with shouting matches, no slammed doors, no dramatic fights under porch light shadows. Like most things that end, it started with silence, little shifts, things that didn't scream but whispered, just enough to keep you awake at night. Lily moved in with me about a year after we started dating. It felt natural. She already had a toothbrush in my bathroom, half her closet was at my place anyway, and truth be told, I liked waking up to her there. I had a decent 2-bedroom in the city, nothing too flashy, but clean, quiet, and with a doorman who knew everybody's dog by name. I'd signed the lease solo since my credit was a little cleaner than hers back then, didn't think much of it at the time, just another grown-up checkbox in a life that felt like it was finally settling into something solid. Lily was killing it in real estate. Fancy heels, back-to-back closings, her name on signs stuck in front lawns all over town. Her friends loved to remind me she was the breadwinner. I'd heard the jokes, light ones, but with a sting underneath. Robert, remind me again, what's your title? Oh, right, you run the beer taps, that sort of thing. And Lily, she'd just laugh. Sometimes she'd echo them. He likes his job, she'd say, with that grin that said she meant well, but wasn't defending me either. I told myself it didn't matter. I was proud of what I'd built, that success didn't have to wear a suit. But you hear those jabs long enough, you start to flinch before they land. Still, we made it work. I'd just been promoted to general manager and asked to help train new hires at other branches. She was pulling in commissions like clockwork. Our families were close. Hers, Susan and David, were the kind of folks who sent handwritten thank you cards and always brought wine that matched the meal. My parents adored her. That December, I proposed. I rented a little cabin upstate, snowy pines out the window, a fire going, the ring tucked inside a creme brulee she pretended not to see coming. It was cheesy. She loved it. Said yes with tears in her eyes and finally on her lips. We toasted with cheap champagne and talked about forever, like it was a house we'd already built. Then came the wedding planning. Her parents offered to pay most of the costs, $40 grand up front for the venue, the florist, the band, and everything in between. That's when her friends stepped in, not gently. Suddenly, every decision needed group approval, color palettes, seating charts, and even the playlist. I became background noise in my engagement. I'd mention an idea, navy suits instead of black, and get shut down by Emma says, navy is overdone. Emma wasn't even in the wedding party. And the digs about my job, they got worse. Lily, 6 p.m. ceremony? Will Robert even make it off the bar in time? Tuesday dress shopping might be best, you know, slow night at the tap house. Sometimes I waited for her to speak up, to say something, anything. She never did. But I held on. We were stressed, that's what people said. Weddings are hard, stressful, test the relationship stuff. I kept brushing it off like dust on my shoulders. Then came the changes I couldn't brush off. Lily started working late, a lot. Emergency showings, she'd call them. Always last minute, always vague. A house on the other side of town that had just hit the market. Or a seller who could only meet after 9. At first, I believed her. I wanted to. But it wasn't just the hours. She started keeping her phone face down, changed her lock screen, got real twitchy when I walked behind her while she was texting. Classic red flags, right? But love makes fools of the best of us. I told myself I trusted her, that she'd never do something like that the late nights were just work, that she was tired. I was tired. That we just needed to get through the wedding and things would settle. But deep down, in that place you only admit to when you're staring at the ceiling at 2 a.m., I knew something had changed. We stopped laughing the easy way we used to joke during commercials. The little kisses in the morning before she left. The slow dances in the kitchen while the pasta boiled. They all faded, replaced by silence and half-truths. I found myself checking the building's security footage, not because I wanted to catch her doing anything, but because I needed reassurance, something solid to hang on to. That's when the first real crack hit. It was a Thursday. She said she had a late showing on the West End, but the footage showed her leaving dressed up, not in work clothes, and getting into a car I didn't recognize. I froze the screen, zoomed in, male driver, hand on the wheel, her laughing in the passenger seat like nothing in the world was wrong. I didn't sleep that night, or the next. She came home late, smelling like perfume that wasn't hers, makeup smudged, said it was a late dinner with a client who wanted to talk numbers over drinks. I nodded, said nothing, just stared at her while she undressed, smiled, and crawled into bed beside me. I knew. Not everything, but enough. And once you know, you can't unknow. You can't go back to believing the late nights. You can't unhear the whispered texts. You can't unsee the way she started looking at me, like I was familiar wallpaper she couldn't wait to paint over. That was the moment I realized I wasn't her partner anymore. I was her placeholder. And soon I'd learn exactly what and who she'd been replacing me with. You never expect the truth to show up on a Wednesday night. But there I was, wiping down the bar after round 3 of trivia, when Sarah waved me over. She's one of our regulars, mid-30s, always quick to laugh, always tipped in cash and kindness. Works HR at some insurance firm, smart as a whip and sharp-eyed. That night, though, something was off. Her drink sat untouched. She kept glancing between her phone and me like she was watching a storm roll in. "Can we talk for a second?" she asked, already halfway toward my office. I followed, figuring maybe she'd had a rough day, or wanted to file a complaint about the new bartender who kept flirting with the customers. But when the door closed, she just stood there, fidgeting with the sleeve of her sweater. "I don't know if I should be telling you this," she started, "but if it were me, I'd want to know." The world slowed down, like the air thickened around us. She took a breath. "My sister Jenny? She's a colorist at that fancy salon downtown." I nodded, still not getting it. "She had Lily in her chair this morning. Said she was on the phone the entire time, 2 hours, calling someone babe and baby, making plans for a weekend getaway. Said her idiot fiancé thought she was going to some real estate conference." It took a second for the words to register. Idiot fiancé. I didn't even feel the blow land, just the hollow afterward. I leaned back in the chair. Sarah pulled out her phone. "There's more." She showed me a video from Instagram, posted by some influencer, celebrating her engagement at a downtown steakhouse. Fancy place. Soft candlelight, too expensive for our budget. The kind where you order wine by the region, not the brand. In the background of the video, there was Lily, clear as day, sitting across from a man in a tailored suit, laughing, leaning into him like they shared a world only they could hear. The timestamp said 9:47 p.m. At 9:52, I remembered she'd sent me a photo. Her in our bathroom, green tea face mask, holding a bottle of wine. "Girls' night in," the caption said. That's when I knew, not just in my gut, but in the bone-deep kind of way that doesn't go away with sleep or time. I thanked Sarah, comped her table, walked out to the floor and finished my shift on autopilot, poured drinks, cleaned glasses, smiled at jokes I didn't hear. That night, Lily said she was staying over at Rachel's, one of the friends who always found a way to bring up my income at brunch. I waited until I was alone. We had a shared iPad, one of those hand-me-downs she barely used. Logged into her iCloud for backup. I'd forgotten about it. I guess she had too. The messages were all there. Hundreds of them. Him, Michael, her ex, the one who'd broken her heart back in college, the one she swore was a mistake she'd never repeat. Turns out, she'd been repeating that mistake since February. Every late showing was a night in his condo. Every girl's night was a weekend at a bed and breakfast 2 towns over. I scrolled for hours. They'd joked about me, called me safe and small-town Robert, mocked the way I wore my baseball cap backwards on Sundays, laughed at how I couldn't tell the difference between Pinot Grigio and Chardonnay, told each other to wait until after the wedding for the big payoff, the split, the settlement, the story she could spin to her friends. And her friends? They knew. Every last one of them. Messages from Rachel saying, "You deserve better, babe, he's not on your level." Emma told her to just get through the wedding, then divorce him after 6 months. Even Maria, the one I thought was decent, chimed in with, "If you're gonna cheat, at least cheat up." And Michael is up. The worst of it? There was a message from the night I proposed, from Lily to Michael. "Don't worry, baby, this doesn't change anything. It's just business. You're the one I love." I sat there on the couch, the screen lighting up my face, heart thudding in that slow, numb way pain can settle. I didn't cry, I didn't throw anything, I didn't even feel angry yet. Just hollow. I screenshotted everything, sent copies to a secure folder, took photos with my phone just in case. I even emailed the files to a friend's computer. I wasn't sure what I was going to do, but that I knew I had to do something. Because whatever this was, this mockery of a relationship, this performance, it was over. And this time, I wouldn't let her rewrite the ending. Some storms don't come with thunder. They creep in slowly, with the air going still and the birds falling quiet. That's how it felt the night Lily came home. She walked through the door like nothing had changed, like the air wasn't humming with everything I knew. I was sitting on the couch, the iPad in my lap, still open to her messages with Michael. I didn't say a word, just turned the screen toward her. She froze. Just for a second. Then her face twisted. Confusion gave way to panic, and panic curdled into something colder. "You went through my stuff?" she barked, like that was the violation here. I didn't flinch. I scrolled, slow and deliberate, to the message from the night I'd proposed. "Don't worry, baby," I read aloud. "This doesn't change anything. It's just business. You're the one I love." Her lip trembled. She tried to cry, but I've seen real crying. This wasn't that. This was the kind that's made for an audience, for pity. "It was a mistake," she said, voice cracking. "He's my past. You're my future." I stared at her. She sniffled again. "You don't get it," she snapped. "You're never home. You work nights. You never wanted to go to brunch with my friends. You made me feel alone." I stayed quiet, let her talk. "If you hadn't invaded my privacy," she added, voice rising, "we could have been happy." That was the moment I realized she believed it, believed her betrayal was my fault, that somehow I'd pushed her to cheat. I asked how she thought we'd be happy with her friends planning our wedding and our divorce in the same breath. She went quiet. Then the mask slipped, just enough for me to see what she cared about. "What about the deposits?" she hissed. "What are we going to tell people?" I told her the wedding was off, that she had 30 days to move out, per the tenant law, that I'd stay with a buddy so we wouldn't have to see each other in the meantime. She didn't respond, just picked up her phone, texting furiously. I caught the words, "He's going to regret this. He has no idea who he's messing with." I laughed, not because it was funny, but because it was pathetic. I grabbed my duffel bag and headed for the door. The sun had dipped just below the horizon by the time I stepped into the parking lot. The air was sticky, the kind that clings to your skin and won't let go. I was halfway to my truck when 5 cars pulled in like synchronized swimmers, one after the other. Lily's crew. Emma, Rachel, Hannah, Maria, and Ashley. They got out, all in a rush of heels and high-waisted pants, like they'd just come from a courtroom drama. I started recording on my phone, just in case. Hannah was first. "You're abusive!" she shrieked. Rachel pointed her phone at me. "We're just here to help Lily get her stuff safely," she said, loud like she was talking to a camera crew. "I've given Lily 30 days notice," I replied, calm and steady. "I'm leaving. There are cameras. I'm recording too." Rachel shouted. "He's threatening to release private recordings." What recordings? I have no idea. But then Hannah lunged. She went for my phone. Then Jessica tackled me, and I didn't even see her coming. I hit the asphalt hard, my head smacking the pavement. Hannah kicked me in the ribs, sharp and fast. Pain exploded in my side. And that's when I saw Lily, sprinting toward us like something had snapped. She was holding the kitchen knife block from our apartment. She pulled out one knife, then another. She started handing them out like party favors. "You need to learn your lesson," she screamed. I hit the SOS button on my iPhone and yelled at the top of my lungs, "The police are on their way!" That's when I felt it. A sharp burn in my arm. Hot, immediate. I looked down and saw red blooming across my sleeve. Hannah had stabbed me. Everything slowed. The screaming, the flashing lights, the blare of sirens echoing through the night. Police cars peeled into the lot, tires screeching. "Draw your weapons!" an officer yelled, guns drawn. Emma froze, blade in hand. Ashley started sobbing. Rachel, still recording, yelled, "He attacked us!" But it didn't matter. My phone had recorded everything. So had the building cameras. And, irony of ironies, so had Rachel's livestream. They cuffed Hannah first, then Lily, then the others. 12 stitches, the ER doc told me. Could have been worse. It could have been my neck. When I sat on that hospital gurney, arm wrapped tight and heart bruised far deeper, I finally let myself feel it. The pain, the grief, the betrayal, all of it. And beneath it all, a quiet relief that I had made it out alive. Because loving someone shouldn't feel like survival. And trusting someone shouldn't get you stabbed in a parking lot. I spent that night in a fluorescent-lit emergency room, staring at ceiling tiles while a nurse stitched my arm back together like a patchwork quilt. 12 stitches, 2 fractured ribs, 1 mild concussion, and a heart that, while not listed in the charts, was bruised in a way no X-ray could ever capture. The district attorney's office called it clear-cut, premeditated assault, cold, coordinated, and caught on more cameras than they had time to count. There were my building's security tapes, my own phone's footage, even Rachel's live stream, the very tool they meant to use against me, now turned state's evidence. It turns out they'd planned the whole thing like a sorority stunt. Screenshots from their group chat obtained by warrant showed weeks, months of scheming. They'd role-played what to say, how to cry, even practiced the scuffle at Maria's gym. It wasn't just betrayal, it was a theater, a cruel production, choreographed down to the second. Lily was arrested with the others. Hannah, Jessica, and Rachel too. Maria and Ashley faced lesser charges, but their hands weren't clean either. Michael, the ex, the puppet master in the suit, well, he made the mistake of threatening me from his work email. Those words now sit in an evidence folder bearing his firm's logo. There's something oddly satisfying about that. The bail hearing was a circus. The prosecutor laid it out like a storybook. Rachel's live stream, my bruised body, group chats full of pre-written lies, and of course the weapon itself, my kitchen knife, still smeared with prints and pride. Bail was set at $500,000, 0 cents each. Hannah, Jessica, and Rachel walked out of court, with ankle monitors blinking like cheap Christmas lights. Ashley took a deal. Maria pleaded down to probation. Lily? She smiled in court like none of it touched her, but she took a deal too. Her sentencing is still pending. Justice doesn't always run fast, but it runs steadily. And me? I'm back behind the bar. It's funny, the sound of a beer tap now feels like stability. Every time I pour a drink, I'm reminded of the life I built before she tried to burn it down. My staff looks out for me. My regulars tip better now. And that little booth in the corner? It's reserved for Sarah, the customer who told the truth when she didn't have to. Her loyalty saved my life. The women who plotted against me lost everything. The lawyers were disbarred. Maria lost her license to practice medicine. Ashley was banned from working in finance. They weren't just playing games. They were gambling with their futures. And the house finally won. As for Lily, I don't know where she is now. Sometimes I wonder if she's still chasing the high of manipulation, or if she's finally sitting still with the weight of what she did. I don't hate her anymore. That part of me got tired. Some days I even hope she finds help. Not because she deserves peace, but because I deserve to stop carrying her. There's healing in knowing you did the right thing even when the world tried to convince you otherwise. There's peace in choosing not to pick up the stone someone else used to hurt you. And there's freedom in letting go. Not for them, but for you. So here I am, scarred, sure, but standing. Stronger than the story they tried to write for me. And still, turning the page. So yeah, she tried to trap me in a fake marriage while sneaking around with her ex. She thought I'd crumble, fall apart, stay quiet. But I didn't. I stood up, I fought back, and the truth came out, in court, in front of everyone. Her perfect world, it wasn't just shaken, it collapsed. And now I get to live mine, free, honest, and finally at peace. If this story hit home, or if you know someone going through something that feels just as wrong, share this video with them. Let them know they're not alone. Drop a comment below and tell me your story, or just say what you would have done in my shoes. I read every single one. And hey, if you want more stories like this, the kind that remind you that healing is messy but powerful, subscribe to the channel.